Have you ever looked at your life and thought it's too late to turn things around? Maybe you've made mistakes, missed chances, or feel like time just slipped away. But here's the truth. It's not too late. You can still change. You can still grow. You can still win. No matter how far behind you feel, you still have time to build something strong. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start. This video is for anyone who feels stuck. Anyone who thinks their best days are behind them. We're going to walk through the real steps that can help you rebuild your mindset, refocus your energy, and fight for the life you want. If you've ever felt like giving up, you need to hear this. So stay with me. Because once you realize what's still possible, your life will never look the same again. It all starts today. Number 1, decide today to rebuild your life with courage. That's not just a nice idea. That's a choice. That's a decision you make when you realize that your past does not have to control your future. That's what separates the ones who stay stuck from the ones who break free. Every single person walking this earth has made mistakes, wasted time, gotten off track, lost their way. But not everyone decides to do something about it. Not everyone looks in the mirror and says, I'm not going to let my story end like this. You have the power to begin again, and it doesn't matter how long it's been. It doesn't matter how far off the road you've wandered. What matters is what you choose to do right now. Most people wait for some big sign. They wait for the pain to go away. They wait until they feel ready. But the truth is, that moment may never come. You can wait 10 more years, and nothing will change. Or you can wake up and say, enough is enough. I'm ready to rebuild my life. Rebuilding your life isn't easy. It takes courage. And courage doesn't mean you're not afraid. It means you act anyway. It means you show up, even when you feel broken. It means you try again, even after everything fell apart. Real courage is not loud. It's quiet. It's that voice in your head that tells you to keep going when everything around you tells you to give up. And when you find that voice and listen to it, you take your first real step toward change. Some people say it's too late for them. They've told themselves that lie for so long, they actually believe it. They say they're too old, too tired, too far gone. But I've met people in their 60s who started over and built something better than they ever imagined. I've seen people come back from years of failure, addiction, heartbreak, and regret, and turn it all around. Not because they had a perfect plan, not because everything magically worked out, but because they made a decision and followed it with action. That's what rebuilding is. Action after action, step after step, done with courage. You will face resistance. Your own mind will try to stop you. You'll hear that inner voice telling you, why bother? Who do you think you are? You'll never make it. But that voice doesn't get the final say. You do. You get to decide what you believe. You get to decide what story you tell yourself. You can choose to believe that you've wasted too much time. Or you can believe that your best days are still ahead. You can choose to accept that you've failed too much. Or you can believe that every failure has prepared you for this moment. Your decision matters more than anything that happened before today. Rebuilding your life starts with a real conversation with yourself. No excuses. No blaming. Just honesty. You look at where you are and ask, is this where I want to be? And if the answer is no, then that's your signal. You've got to stop avoiding the truth. You've got to stop waiting for someone to come save you, because no one is coming. You're the one who has to pick yourself up. You're the one who has to make new choices. And you can. You may not know exactly how, but the first step is deciding that you're worth the effort. Some people carry guilt for years. They feel shame about what they didn't do, what they should have done, and that guilt keeps them stuck. But guilt has no power unless you keep feeding it. The truth is, you're allowed to forgive yourself. You're allowed to change. You're allowed to move on. People act like once you've messed up, you're done. That's not true. The moment you decide to rebuild your life with courage, you begin writing a new chapter, and what you build next can be stronger, wiser, more meaningful than anything you had before. This is your life. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you want to grow. You don't need permission to try again. You don't have to wait for the perfect day. You don't need all the answers. You just need a little courage to begin. And you don't need to announce it to the world. You can start quietly. You can get up tomorrow and do one thing differently. You can stop lying to yourself. You can stop pretending you're okay with the way things are. You can stop avoiding the mirror. Rebuilding takes work. You might have to let go of some people. You might have to walk away from places that remind you of your worst days. You might have to stop doing things that used to bring you comfort. But on the other side of that pain is progress. On the other side of that discomfort is growth. And when you face it head on, you will feel stronger. Not just emotionally, even physically, your body will feel different. You'll breathe deeper. You'll sleep better. You'll carry yourself with more strength. People will notice. They might not say anything, but they'll see it. They'll see that you're different. Not because you said something, but because you changed how you live. You stop complaining. You stop comparing. You stop blaming. And you start working. Day by day, you rebuild your focus. You rebuild your discipline. You rebuild your confidence. And eventually you become someone you're proud of. That's what courage does. It moves you from regret to responsibility. It moves you from doubt to direction. You stop hiding. You stop playing small. You stop letting fear win. And every day you show up. Even when it's hard. Even when you're tired. Even when you're tired. Even when nothing feels certain. You keep going. Because you decided. Because your life matters. Because you're not done yet. There are people who will doubt you. Some of them will laugh. Some of them will bring up your past. They'll remind you of who you used to be. But that's their fear talking. That's their own insecurity. You don't have to answer them. You don't have to prove anything. Your job is not to convince anyone. Your job is to do the work. Your job is to stay committed. And if they're not growing, they won't understand your growth. That's not your problem. Decide today to rebuild your life with courage. That decision has more power than any excuse. That decision carries more weight than your past. And the beautiful part is, you can make it right now. Not tomorrow. Not next year. Right now. The second you say, I've had enough, your life begins to change. It doesn't happen all at once. It's not supposed to. But something shifts inside you. And that shift is real. This journey will test you. It will challenge everything you thought you knew. But it will also reward you. With clarity. With strength. With peace. You won't feel trapped anymore. You won't feel like life is just happening to you. You'll feel in control again. Because you'll know you didn't quit on yourself. You stood up and did something that most people are too afraid to do. And if you're thinking you're too late, I want you to remember this. You're not. You're alive. You're breathing. That means your story isn't finished. And if your story isn't finished, you still have time. It may take longer than you want. It may be harder than you expected. But it's possible. And possible is enough to begin. Because once you begin, you create momentum. And momentum is powerful. It turns your decision into a lifestyle. It turns your effort into progress. So now the question is, will you decide? Will you stop waiting and start doing? Will you stop blaming and start building? Will you stop doubting and start believing? This is your life. Don't waste another year saying someday. Choose today. Choose to rebuild. Choose to rise. Choose to grow. Choose to lead your own life. It takes courage, yes. But the reward is freedom. The reward is knowing you didn't let fear write your story. You've got time. You've got strength. You've got a new day in front of you. Use it. Decide today to rebuild your life with courage. And watch what happens next. Number 2. Remove toxic people who doubt your potential. When you're trying to build a better life, one of the most important decisions you will ever make is who you allow around you. The people in your life can either lift you up or keep pulling you down. You can have the best plans, the strongest work ethic, the clearest goals. But if you're surrounded by people who constantly doubt your potential, you're going to feel drained. You'll feel stuck. Not because you don't have the ability to move forward, but because the weight of their negativity keeps holding you back. You have to get honest about the people in your life who supports you when you try to grow, who believes in your future instead of reminding you of your past, who encourages you when you're working hard, and who mocks you or stays silent when you're making progress. These aren't small questions. These are life-changing questions. Because people carry energy. People shape your beliefs. And if you're around the wrong voices, you will start to question everything about yourself. There are people who will always see you as you were, not who you are becoming. They don't want you to grow because it makes them uncomfortable. They see your effort as a threat. Not because you've done something wrong, but because you're becoming someone they're not willing to become. That kind of person will criticize your progress. They'll laugh at your goals. They'll tell you to be realistic. And if you're not careful, you'll start listening to them. Toxic people don't always show their face in loud, obvious ways. Sometimes it's subtle. It's the friend who always shifts the conversation back to their problems when you share something good. It's the family member who makes a passive remark that leaves you feeling small. It's the coworker who tells you you're trying too hard. It's the person who constantly doubts you, but calls it just being honest. That's not honesty. That's limitation. And you don't need that in your space. Every time you spend your energy explaining yourself to someone who refuses to see your potential, you are wasting that energy. You could be using it to build, to improve, to move. But instead, you're trying to prove, and that's a losing game. You don't need to convince anyone of your value. You don't need their approval to take your life seriously. If someone can't see what you're capable of, that's their problem, not yours. You must protect your environment. You must protect your mind. You have one shot at this life, and there is no space for people who are committed to staying small and pulling others down with them. That might sound harsh, but it's real. You cannot grow in poisoned soil. You cannot evolve while being surrounded by people who keep feeding you doubt. Every time they speak down to you, you start second-guessing your own instincts. Every time they laugh at your effort, you start slowing down. And the longer you keep them in your space, the more damage it does. You don't need toxic people to understand you. You don't need them to support your dreams. You need to believe in yourself enough to walk away. That doesn't mean you're angry. That doesn't mean you wish them harm. It means you've outgrown their mindset. It means your priorities have changed. You're not in the business of staying the same just to make other people feel comfortable. You're in the business of becoming who you were meant to be. There is a cost to holding on to people who don't believe in you. That cost is your progress. That cost is your peace. That cost is your future. And the longer you tolerate it, the more you normalize it. You start telling yourself this is just how people are. You start making excuses for them. You start lowering your standards just to keep the connection. But a connection that costs you your future is not worth keeping. You deserve to be around people who respect your effort. People who see the potential in you, even when you're struggling. People who want to see you win. Not because it benefits them, but because they believe in you. Those people exist. But you won't find them if you keep entertaining the ones who try to keep you small. Removing toxic people isn't easy, especially when it's someone you've known for a long time. You might feel guilty. You might feel like you're being selfish. But self-respect is not selfish. Protecting your energy is not wrong. Your future depends on it. If you want to grow, if you want to change, if you want to win, you have to get serious about who you allow to influence you. Think about this. Every time you share a new idea with someone and they shoot it down, a little part of your confidence breaks. Every time you try to open up about your goals and they laugh or brush it off, your motivation takes a hit. This builds up over time. It's not always immediate, but over weeks and months, you start shrinking. You stop trying. You start keeping things to yourself because you expect them not to understand. That's the damage they do, not always by what they say, but by how often they make you doubt yourself. You can't afford to keep that kind of energy close. You're building something. You're rebuilding your mindset. You're working on your future. That takes strength, and you can't be strong while being pulled in the opposite direction. Don't give them access to your mind. Don't give them access to your energy. You've got work to do. You've got a life to build. Sometimes people don't change. They stay in the same place. They make the same choices. They live with the same excuses. And they want you to stay there with them because it makes them feel better. Don't do it. Don't sacrifice your future just to make someone else feel secure in their comfort zone. You're not responsible for their growth. You're responsible for yours. Start being honest about who supports you and who doesn't. Who makes you feel encouraged and who makes you feel defeated. Who listens to your ideas with excitement and who responds with silence or sarcasm. You know the difference. You've felt it. Now it's time to do something about it. Create space. You don't have to make a big announcement. You don't need to argue or explain. Just create space. Stop giving them your time. Stop asking for their opinion. Stop seeking their approval. Fill that space with people who are moving forward, people who are working hard, people who are focused on growth. The energy is different. The conversations are different. You'll feel it. When you remove toxic people, you make room for peace. You make room for clarity. You start thinking clearer. You start feeling lighter. You start moving faster. And most importantly, you start believing in yourself again. Because now you're not fighting a war in your own head. You're not carrying the weight of someone else's disbelief. You're finally free to rise. Look, life is already full of challenges. You're going to face setbacks. You're going to have bad days. But it's a whole lot easier to push through when you're not surrounded by people who make it harder. It's easier to bounce back when the people around you believe you can. It's easier to stay disciplined when your circle is focused. Your environment either builds you or breaks you. Choose wisely. You deserve relationships that push you higher. You deserve to have people in your corner who clap when you win. You deserve friends and family who see your effort and respect your journey. And if you don't have those people right now, start building a life that attracts them. Show up with integrity. Show up with focus. Show up with discipline. The right people will recognize that, and the wrong ones will remove themselves. Your future is too important to be sacrificed to someone else's insecurity. Your goals are too big to be explained to someone who doesn't want to understand. Your energy is too valuable to be wasted on people who bring nothing but drama and doubt. So stop giving it away. Reclaim it. Use it to build. Use it to grow. Use it to become the person you've always known you could be. You don't need more time. You need fewer distractions. You don't need more advice. You need less noise. You don't need more motivation. You need stronger boundaries. And you start building those boundaries by removing the people who constantly make you feel like you're not enough. You are enough. You are capable. You are worth the effort. You are not your past. You are not your failures. And you're not defined by the opinions of people who gave up on themselves. You are here for a reason. You have something inside of you that's waiting to be developed. And it will never come out if you keep living for the approval of people who never built anything themselves. There is no honor in staying loyal to people who keep you stuck. Loyalty should be earned through respect and support, not guilt and manipulation. You don't owe anyone your potential. You owe it to yourself to use it, to live it, to grow it, to share it with the world. So take a deep breath, get clear, get strong, and start removing anything and anyone that makes you feel small. That decision will be uncomfortable at first. You'll feel the silence. You'll feel the absence. But soon you'll feel the freedom, the clarity, the power, and you'll never go back. Because once you taste peace, you'll never trade it for poison again. You're not here to prove your worth to anyone. You're here to live it. You're here to grow it. You're here to show what happens when someone finally says, "I'm done letting other people's doubt define me." Make that decision. Remove the toxic. Reclaim your focus. Build your future. The clock is ticking, and your life is waiting. Number 3, rewrite your story with determination and strength. You have to stop waiting for someone to fix your life and take full responsibility for the direction it's heading. That's the moment you rewrite your story. Not with fear, not with excuses, but with determination and strength. You don't need permission to change your path. You don't need validation from others. What you need is the willingness to step up and say, "This is not where I'm stopping. This is where I begin again." Too many people carry the weight of who they used to be. They keep replaying the same moments, the same pain, the same disappointment. And after a while, it becomes their identity. They convince themselves that nothing will ever change because everything they've tried before didn't work. But that's not the truth. That's a trap. What didn't work before may not have been the problem. It may have been the lack of belief behind it. It may have been fear disguised as logic. It may have been a lack of consistency. But it doesn't mean you're finished. It doesn't mean you're broken beyond repair. It means you need a fresh commitment and a new kind of fight. Your story is not locked. It's not permanent. You're not stuck with the version of yourself that made bad decisions, that stayed silent, that gave up too soon. You're not bound by your history. You have the power to create a new one. But it doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. You have to be determined to move forward no matter what has happened. Not because you're ignoring the past, but because you've made a decision not to let it define you. Determination means you refuse to quit, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's not convenient, even when you're tired. It means you keep showing up for yourself. You keep putting in the work. You stop negotiating with laziness. You stop bargaining with self-pity. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. You start where you are. You use what you have. And you take action even when it doesn't feel like enough. Strength doesn't mean you never struggle. It means you keep moving through the struggle. You face the hard days with focus. You get back up after you've fallen. You don't let failure stop your effort. Strength shows up when no one is watching. When there's no applause, no rewards, just you and the decision to push forward again. Every time you choose that path, you add another line to the story you're writing. And that story begins to shift. You have to see yourself differently. You have to stop seeing yourself through the eyes of failure. Stop labeling yourself with the worst moments of your past. You are not just what happened to you. You are what you choose to become. And when you choose to rebuild, to rise, to grow, you take back control of your story. You become the author, not the victim. You become the driver, not the passenger. This is not about pretending things are okay when they're not. This is not about ignoring pain. This is about making a conscious decision to move forward with purpose. When you rewrite your story, you start making decisions based on who you want to become, not who you've been. You ask better questions. You develop better habits. You stop living on autopilot. You become intentional with your time. You protect your energy. You choose people and places that support your future. Most people repeat the same cycles because they never step back and question them. They live out the same thoughts every day. They follow the same patterns, and then they wonder why nothing changes. But when you decide to rewrite your story, you interrupt those patterns. You challenge the way you think. You confront the fears that keep you stuck. You stop blaming and start building. That takes courage. That takes self-awareness. That takes a level of honesty that most people avoid. You'll have to admit that some of your pain came from your own decisions. You'll have to admit that you didn't give your best effort. You'll have to take ownership of your life, without excuses. That's where strength comes in. You build strength by facing the truth. You build determination by committing to a new standard. You are not too far gone. You are not too late. You are not too broken. Those are lies your old story told you. But you can challenge that. You can write a different ending. One built on discipline. One built on progress. One built on a new level of self-respect. The moment you stop seeing yourself as stuck is the moment you start moving forward. You don't need a dramatic event to change your life. You need a decision. One clear decision to stop living in survival mode. To stop just getting through the day. To stop doing just enough to feel okay. And start doing what pushes you. What builds you. What makes you proud of who you are. That decision doesn't come easy, but it comes with power. You will lose people along the way. Not everyone will understand your need to change. Some will think you've changed too much. Some will be uncomfortable with your growth. That's normal. That's part of it. When you start writing a new story, not everyone from the old one gets to stay, and that's okay. Your life is not about keeping everyone happy. It's about living with integrity. It's about building something that feels right to you, something that aligns with your values, something that moves you forward. The world doesn't owe you understanding. You owe yourself the effort, and that effort is daily. It's not something you do once and then wait for results. It's something you repeat until your identity shifts, until your mindset is stronger, until your confidence returns, until you stop second-guessing yourself. You show up daily. You build piece by piece, and eventually you see the new story taking shape. The beautiful part of rewriting your story is that it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. It has to be honest. It has to reflect your growth, your choices, your progress. It's not about comparing it to someone else's journey. It's about knowing that you're no longer repeating the same pain. You're no longer stuck in regret. You're no longer waiting for someone else to save you. You're finally choosing to do it yourself. That choice gives you freedom. The freedom to be different, to think differently, to act with purpose, to believe in yourself again, And that belief grows every time you take action. Every time you finish something, you start. Every time you hold yourself to a new standard. That's what makes the new story stronger. It's not written in one day. It's written in your discipline, in your focus, in your consistency. And yes, it will be difficult. You'll want to quit some days. You'll wonder if it's working. You'll be tempted to go back to old habits. But if you stay committed, if you keep your eyes on where you're going instead of where you've been, you'll notice something change. You'll feel it in the way you think. You'll feel it in your decisions. You'll feel it in your peace of mind. That's the power of rewriting your story. You stop reacting and start leading your life. You don't need a perfect past to create a powerful future. You need discipline. You need clarity. You need strength. And most of all, you need a decision that you stick to. Even when it's hard. Even when no one's watching. Even when it feels like nothing's changing. You stick to it. And over time, your life starts to align with that choice. You'll look back one day and realize that the version of you who started this journey, the one who was tired, doubtful, uncertain, was the strongest version of all. Because that was the version who said yes to change, who said yes to growth, who said yes to a future worth building. And that one decision changed everything. So what's stopping you now? Fear, doubt, guilt? Those emotions are not stronger than your ability to move forward. They only win if you let them. You've got more in you than you think. You've got strength you haven't even tapped into yet. And the only way to access it is to move forward without looking back. The past happened. Accept it. Learn from it. But don't let it keep you from what's possible. Don't let it become your identity. You are not your mistakes. You are not your lowest moments. You are what you choose today. You are what you commit to. You are what you fight for. And if you're going to fight for something, fight for the life you want. Fight for a story that gives you peace, that gives you direction, that gives you meaning. You don't need to rewrite the past. You need to rewrite the future. And you do that by changing the choices you make now. Be honest about what you want. Be clear about what you're building. Be relentless about protecting your time, your energy, and your mind. That's how you stay on course. That's how you stay strong. Not by being perfect, but by staying committed. Your story isn't over, not even close. You've got more life to live, more progress to make, more purpose to walk into. Don't waste it living in regret. Don't waste it repeating what you know isn't working. Step into your strength. Walk forward with focus. Build something better. And never forget, this is your story. Write it well. Write it with pride. And never stop until it reflects the person you've worked so hard to become. Number 4. Embrace challenges that others are afraid to face. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid difficulty. They want comfort. They want safety. They want things to be easy. And in doing that, they settle for less than they're capable of. They settle for routines that don't stretch them, for people who don't challenge them, for lives that never really test their strength. But growth doesn't happen in the easy places. It doesn't happen when things are simple. It happens when you step into the situations others avoid. It happens when you embrace challenges that most people are afraid to face. You don't build courage by staying comfortable. You build it by putting yourself in situations where you don't have all the answers, where failure is possible, where effort is required. The kind of challenges that scare most people, that's where transformation happens. Not just external change, but internal strength. The type of strength that doesn't show up when life is good, but when everything feels heavy and you keep moving anyway. You have to be willing to face what others run from. That means stepping into situations where you might fail. That means doing things that make you nervous. That means saying yes when everything in you wants to stay safe. Life won't wait for you to feel ready. It responds to movement. It responds to action. You want to grow, then step into what makes you uncomfortable. The moment you stop avoiding challenges is the moment your life begins to change. You gain clarity about who you are. You discover strength you didn't know you had. You build confidence not because someone told you you're capable, but because you proved it to yourself in real situations. You didn't just think about doing something, you did it. You acted while others hesitated. You leaned in when others stepped back. That's what sets you apart. There's no shortcut to this. You can't think your way into growth. You have to act your way into it. You have to step into the things that scare you, that test you, that demand more from you than you've ever given. You'll feel nervous. You'll feel unsure. That's normal. That's what happens when you're stretching beyond what's comfortable. And when you push through those feelings, you realize they never had power over you in the first place. Most people let fear control their decisions. They wait until they feel confident before they act. But confidence comes after action, not before. If you want to grow stronger, if you want to rise, if you want to build something real in your life, you have to stop letting fear be the reason you say no. You have to start saying yes to the very things that make you nervous. Because those are the moments that sharpen you. You'll never know how capable you are if you always stay in places you've already mastered. You'll never develop new skills if you never take on new responsibilities. You'll never feel truly alive if you keep choosing ease over effort. That quiet sense of pride you feel after doing something hard. That's what real confidence is built on. Not words, not titles, but action, repeated, daily. When you avoid challenges, you start losing belief in yourself. You play small. You hesitate. You doubt your ability to handle pressure. But when you face those same challenges, even when they scare you, you start building a mindset that can handle anything. You stop flinching at hard work. You stop complaining when things aren't going your way. You stop waiting for ideal circumstances. You start performing no matter what's going on around you. That's where real freedom comes from. The freedom to live without being controlled by fear. The freedom to take risks because you believe in your ability to adapt. The freedom to try new things because you're not paralyzed by the thought of failure. You don't get that freedom by accident. You earn it by facing the things others hide from. You won't always get it right. You'll make mistakes. You'll get uncomfortable. But that's the price of growth. That's what separates people who talk about doing something from the ones who actually do it. You don't become stronger by staying where you're safe. You become stronger by doing the work others aren't willing to do. Showing up when it's hard. Staying focused when it's not fun. Taking action when it's uncertain. There will be people who don't understand. They'll tell you to slow down. They'll ask why you're pushing yourself. They'll wonder why you're not settling like everyone else. But you know why. Because you've decided to live fully. Because you know you're capable of more. Because you're not afraid to earn what you want through effort. That mindset separates you. And eventually your results will too. Every challenge you face is an opportunity. Not just to succeed, but to grow. To become wiser. To develop more discipline. To learn how to perform under pressure. The people who rise are not the ones who avoid difficulty. They're the ones who walk straight into it and figure things out along the way. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to be willing to face it. There are opportunities hiding inside the things you fear. New paths, new strength, new understanding. But you'll never access them if you keep turning away. If you keep convincing yourself that you're not ready. If you keep settling for what's familiar instead of chasing what's possible. You've got to shift your mindset from avoiding struggle to embracing it, from avoiding pressure to thriving under it, from avoiding discomfort to choosing it as a way of life. That's not what most people do. Most people avoid responsibility. They look for shortcuts. They want rewards without effort. But you're not here to live like most people. You're here to rise above. And rising means embracing challenge. Rising means making tough decisions. Rising means doing what's hard now, so you can have what you want later. You're gonna have to be disciplined. You're gonna have to do things that others aren't willing to do. You're gonna have to wake up early when no one's watching. You're gonna have to keep working when the results don't show up right away. You're gonna have to keep pushing when others quit. That's how you become strong. That's how you stand out. That's how you build a life that makes you proud. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent, showing up day after day with effort and focus, showing up even when you're tired, even when it's boring, even when it's easier to walk away. That consistency builds momentum. That momentum builds confidence, and that confidence helps you take on even bigger challenges. You don't have to do it all at once. Start with one challenge you've been avoiding. Face it, push through it, and then move to the next. Each one makes you more capable. Each one builds more trust in yourself. And eventually you start welcoming the challenges because you know what they bring. You know what they unlock inside of you. And you're no longer afraid of what's hard. You're focused on what it's creating in you. Most people stop when they hit resistance. They say this is too hard and they quit. But not you. You recognize that resistance means growth. That discomfort means progress. That pressure means you're being stretched into someone better. You learn how to stay calm in the chaos. You learn how to stay focused in the noise. You learn how to stay driven when nothing around you is easy. This mindset changes everything. It makes you unshakable. It gives you an edge in every area of life. In your work, in your relationships, in your health. Because you're no longer making choices based on comfort. You're making choices based on growth. You're no longer living just to get by. You're living to get better. That's a powerful shift. And it starts by embracing what most people fear. The truth is, life is going to be hard either way. There's no easy path. There's pain in staying stuck. And there's pain in growing. The difference is one keeps you weak. The other makes you stronger. One takes from you. The other gives you purpose. One leaves you frustrated. The other builds something inside of you that no one can take away. You choose which pain to live with. There is no perfect time to start. There's no right mood or guaranteed outcome. There's only now, and now is enough. If you're waiting for the fear to disappear, you'll be waiting forever. You don't overcome fear by avoiding it. You overcome it by facing it again and again until it loses its grip on you. You become braver by moving while afraid. You become stronger by doing what makes you sweat. You become focused by doing what makes your mind stretch. You'll look back one day at the challenges you faced and realize they shaped you into someone powerful. Not because you got through them without pain, but because you didn't run from them. You faced them. You fought through. You stayed the course. And you became someone you respect because of it. That's the real reward. That's the part of success no one can take from you. You want to live with pride. Face the challenges others fear. You want to become disciplined. Push through the moments when quitting seems easier. You want to build something meaningful. Do the work when others are sleeping. You want to lead. Take responsibility when no one else will. That's how leaders are built. That's how strong minds are shaped. That's how winners are created. Not by wishing, but by doing. There's greatness inside you, but it doesn't come out when you're relaxed. It comes out when you're under pressure, when you're challenged, when you're tested. Don't run from that. Embrace it, lean into it, use it. Every time you do, you unlock more of what's inside of you. Every time you do, you move closer to the person you were meant to become. The question is not, are you afraid? The question is, will you act anyway? Will you walk into the fire, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary? Will you do what's hard, not because you feel strong, but because you want to become strong? That's what separates those who rise from those who stay the same. This is your moment, not because everything is perfect, but because you're ready to stop holding back. You're ready to step into the challenge. You're ready to stop avoiding what's difficult and start using it. Use the pressure. Use the discomfort. Use the fear and let it shape you. Let it build you. Let it take you where comfort never will. You are not here to blend in. You are here to rise. You are here to lead. You are here to grow. And that starts now. Embrace the challenge. Do the work and never look back. Number 5. Create habits that push you toward constant growth. If you want your life to change, you have to change your habits. It's not about big, dramatic moves. It's about the small things you do every single day that either build your future or destroy it. What you do regularly becomes who you are. Most people wait for motivation. They wait for some spark of energy. But growth doesn't come from waiting. It comes from doing. And the most successful people in life don't rely on how they feel. They rely on what they've trained themselves to do. They build habits that create structure, And from that structure comes progress. When you start building the right habits, you don't need to constantly think about what to do next. You've already created a system that guides your actions. That system saves your energy. It keeps you focused. It pushes you forward, even on the days you don't feel like doing anything. But you have to build that system yourself. Nobody else can build it for you. Nobody else knows what you truly want. Nobody else knows what time you're wasting. That's your responsibility. And it starts with self-awareness. You have to take a good, hard look at how you spend your time. Not just once, every day. You have to notice where you waste your energy. You have to see where you avoid the work. You have to stop pretending that scrolling your phone for hours is harmless. You have to stop acting like skipping one day of work doesn't matter. It matters. Every action you take is either helping you grow or keeping you stuck. And that's not being dramatic. That's just the truth. The key to real long-term growth is consistency. And consistency only comes from habits. Willpower is unreliable. Some days you'll have it, some days you won't. But if you've built solid habits, you don't have to think about what to do. You just do it. It becomes part of who you are. You don't debate it. You don't negotiate with yourself. You follow through, because you've made it part of your identity. If you want to grow, start by creating structure. Get up at the same time every day. Set time to read. Set time to move your body. Set time to focus on what matters. You don't need a long list. You need a clear one. A short, powerful routine done consistently is better than a perfect plan done randomly. Don't chase complicated. Chase effective. And effective always starts simple. You have to protect your time like your life depends on it. Because it does. You can't grow if you keep giving your time to distractions. You can't stay focused if your day is built around noise. You need quiet time. Time to think. Time to plan. Time to learn. And that doesn't happen by accident. You have to carve it out. You have to defend it. You have to make it a priority, even when no one around you does. One of the most powerful habits you can build is reflection. Sit with yourself. Review your day. Ask yourself what worked and what didn't. Most people don't reflect. They just repeat. That's why they stay in the same place year after year. They make the same mistakes. They carry the same frustrations. Because they never stop to evaluate. But when you reflect, you grow faster. You make smarter decisions. You stop wasting time on things that don't work. You also need habits that feed your mind. Read daily. Listen to something that stretches you. Write your thoughts down. Track your growth. Not for others, but for yourself. So you can see your progress. So you can see what's changing. So you can build momentum. That momentum fuels your motivation. It reminds you that you're not wasting your effort. You're moving forward. And that feeling is priceless. Surround yourself with people who also have strong habits. People who are disciplined. People who are building something. Because the people around you will influence your standards. If you're around people who are lazy, you'll start to relax your effort. If you're around people who are focused, you'll raise your expectations. That influence matters. And that influence can push you to keep going when your own motivation starts to fade. Don't wait for a crisis to change your habits. Don't wait until everything falls apart. Don't wait until you feel like you have no choice. Change before you have to. Build strength before life demands it. Build clarity before confusion takes over. Build consistency before chaos shows up. That's what habits give you. A foundation. A daily rhythm that supports your goals, even when life is uncertain. And you don't need to fix everything at once. Start small. Choose one habit that supports your growth. Commit to it. Make it part of your identity. Then build on that. Stack new habits on top of what's already working. Over time, you build a routine that runs on its own. That's how high performers operate. That's how leaders stay grounded. That's how real change sticks. Not through hype. Through repetition. You're not going to feel like it every day. That's normal. You'll feel tired. You'll feel distracted. But that's when habits save you. That's when your routine carries you through the mental noise. The real test isn't what you do when you're motivated. It's what you do when you're not. That's where most people give up. That's where they fall off. But if you've built real habits, you don't fall. You stay steady. Your brain craves patterns. It wants to know what's coming, so give it direction. Train it to expect effort. Train it to expect learning. Train it to expect discipline. If you do that long enough, your baseline shifts. What used to be difficult becomes normal. What used to feel impossible becomes part of your routine. And that's how you grow, not just mentally, but emotionally and physically too. Habits also protect your energy. When you know what you're doing, and when you stop wasting energy on decisions, you reduce anxiety, you eliminate confusion, you move through your day with more focus. That focus allows you to get more done with less stress. And that kind of efficiency creates time for recovery. Time to think, time to create, time to connect. It's not just about grinding, it's about managing your life in a way that supports long-term growth. Some people treat growth like a project. They go all in for a week or two, then burn out. That's not sustainable. That's not what works. What works is showing up daily with a clear plan. What works is making progress a part of who you are. That's how you build confidence. That's how you build a track record. Not by being intense, but by being relentless. Don't focus on motivation. Focus on building systems. Systems that support your effort. Systems that keep you grounded. Systems that grow with you. The better your systems, the easier it becomes to sustain progress. And the longer you sustain progress, the greater your results. That's how you move from where you are to where you want to be. Step by step, day by day, habit by habit. You don't need to chase balance. You need to chase alignment. Make sure your habits match your values. Make sure your actions reflect what you say you want. If you say you want to grow, but your habits support comfort, something has to change. Don't lie to yourself. Don't tell yourself you're working hard if your habits don't back it up. Be honest. Adjust. Improve. Your habits are a mirror. They show you what you truly believe about yourself. If you constantly break promises to yourself, you'll struggle to trust your own potential. But if you follow through daily, even on small things, you rebuild that trust. And when you trust yourself, you move with more certainty. You stop asking for permission. You stop needing constant reassurance. You know you're doing the work, and that belief will carry you when nothing else does. Growth is not something you stumble into. It's something you build toward. And habits are the tools that help you build. The deeper those habits are, the more grounded you become. The more grounded you are, the more pressure you can handle. The more pressure you can handle, the more success you can sustain. It all works together, but it starts with one decision: to create habits that push you to grow, even when it's hard. The strongest people you know are not the ones with perfect lives. They're the ones with strong foundations. The ones who kept doing the work when it was invisible. The ones who showed up when it wasn't easy. The ones who chose structure over chaos, direction over distraction, effort over excuses. That kind of strength is built in the everyday. In the mornings you get up on time. In the moments you push yourself to keep going. In the hours you choose discipline over ease. You don't need more potential. You need more follow-through. You don't need more inspiration. You need more routine. You don't need a new dream. You need stronger habits. Build them, stick to them, respect them, and they will carry you further than motivation ever could. This is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about showing up daily and giving what you've got. Some days that's more, some days it's less. But if you stay consistent, you move forward, and that's what matters. Not how fast you go, but that you never stop. So decide now. Choose the kind of habits that build the kind of life you want. Choose structure. Choose growth. Choose effort. And repeat it daily until it becomes who you are. Because who you are is built by what you do. And what you do, every single day, will decide your future. Number 6, confront your past mistakes and forgive yourself completely. The weight of your past will never leave your shoulders until you confront it with honesty and take responsibility for it without excuses. Most people carry shame around like it's a punishment they're supposed to live with forever. They walk through life trying to pretend the mistakes never happened. But the truth is, you can't move forward while still hiding from what's behind you. If you want to create peace inside your mind, if you want to move into a stronger and more focused version of yourself, You must be willing to face what you've done, own it completely, and forgive yourself without holding anything back. Mistakes are part of being human. You've said things you regret. You've hurt people. You've made poor choices. You've wasted time. You've avoided responsibilities. You've taken shortcuts. That's not a sign that you're broken. That's not proof that you're unworthy. That's simply a sign that you've lived, but refusing to face those decisions and learn from them. That's what keeps people stuck. That's what turns pain into guilt and guilt into self-hatred. And that cycle can trap someone for years if they don't deal with it directly. When you finally sit down and look your past in the face, something powerful happens. You stop running. You stop pretending. You stop putting on a show for everyone else. You meet yourself where you are and say, I know what I've done. I know the pain I've caused. I know the time I've wasted, and I'm ready to change. That moment is the beginning of healing, because you stop fighting with reality and start accepting it. It takes strength to admit your mistakes. Most people spend their whole lives avoiding that kind of truth. They distract themselves. They blame others. They bury their emotions. But none of that works. It just pushes the pain deeper. And buried pain doesn't go away. It grows in silence. It shows up in your self-talk. It shows up in your habits. It shows up in your relationships. You think you've moved on, but really you're still chained to the person you used to be. If you want to break that chain, you have to be brutally honest. You have to look at the choices you made that hurt your growth. You have to own the patterns that kept you stuck. You have to stop blaming people for how you handled your life. And you have to be willing to face the parts of yourself you're not proud of. That's the path to freedom. Not escape, not denial, ownership. But once you face it, the next step is just as important. You have to forgive yourself. That's the part people struggle with most. They say things like, I can't forgive myself for what I did. I don't deserve to move on. I've made too many mistakes. That kind of thinking will poison your spirit. Forgiveness isn't about saying what you did was okay. Forgiveness is about saying, I've learned from this. I'm not that person anymore. And I refuse to let my past destroy my future. You cannot grow into your full potential if you still believe you're the same person who made all those mistakes. You're not. You've grown. You've changed. You've seen the cost. You've felt the damage. You've lived through the consequences. That experience matters. It's what builds character. It's what creates humility. It's what opens your eyes to what really matters. And if you carry those lessons with you, you become wiser, stronger, and more grounded. Forgiving yourself isn't something you do once. It's a decision you make every day. Because old thoughts will creep in. Memories will try to pull you back. You'll remember the things you said, the moments you stayed silent, the times you gave up. And in those moments you have to choose again. You have to remind yourself that you are not that version anymore. You're rebuilding. You're renewing. And you have every right to start over. Self-forgiveness requires patience. You won't feel light right away. But if you keep showing up for yourself, if you keep choosing to grow, the weight starts to lift. Your thoughts become clearer. Your heart starts to feel steady again. You stop waiting for someone else to free you. You realize the only one who can do that is you. And you become someone who's not defined by their mistakes, but by how they responded to them. Some people won't want to see you move on. They'll remind you of who you used to be. They'll bring up your past. That's their way of holding on to the old version of you. Don't fall for it. Don't give your power to people who refuse to grow. You're not here to stay in their story. You're here to rewrite your own, and anyone who truly respects growth will support that. The rest, leave them where they are. What matters now is how you move forward, what habits you build, what choices you make, what thoughts you entertain. You can't undo the past, but you can take control of what happens next. And that control starts with clarity. When you know what you value now, when you know what kind of person you want to be, you start creating a new identity. And that identity becomes stronger than the mistakes behind you. It's not about pretending the pain didn't happen. It's about making sure the pain wasn't wasted. Learn from it. Use it. Let it sharpen your focus. Let it remind you what not to do again. Let it be the reason you walk into rooms with more grace, more presence, and more understanding. That's how pain becomes purpose. Not by hiding it, but by transforming it. You don't owe anyone a perfect explanation. You owe yourself honesty and effort. You owe yourself a new level of commitment, a new level of self-respect, a new standard. That's what forgiveness gives you. It clears the mental clutter. It helps you show up fully. It helps you stop hiding. And it gives you permission to rebuild without the need to keep punishing yourself. Punishment doesn't heal anything. It just delays growth. At some point, you have to stop tearing yourself down. You have to stop living like you deserve to feel miserable. You have to stop repeating stories that tell you you're not good enough. That mindset will drain your spirit, and it's a lie. You are good enough. You're worthy of change. You're capable of redemption. But you won't feel any of that until you start treating yourself with the same compassion you'd give to someone else. Think about that. If someone you loved came to you and told you all the ways they messed up, would you tell them they're worthless? Would you tell them they deserve to feel pain forever? Of course not. You'd tell them to take responsibility, fix what they can, and start again. So why not give yourself the same grace? Growth starts with how you treat yourself. If you see yourself as broken, you'll act like someone who's beyond repair. But if you see yourself as a work in progress, someone who's learning and growing, you'll start acting in ways that reflect that. And the way you treat yourself sets the tone for everything else in your life. Your relationships, your work, your decisions, they all follow your belief about your worth. So speak to yourself differently. Stop repeating the same old story. Replace it with one that reflects your growth. One that reflects your maturity. One that gives you room to evolve. You're not here to stay the same. You're here to become better, wiser, more grounded, and that begins with one honest moment of forgiveness. You have nothing to gain from holding on to shame. Shame doesn't make you better. It makes you bitter. It makes you scared to try again. It keeps you quiet when you should speak. It keeps you small when you're ready to expand. And the longer you carry it, the heavier it gets. But the moment you release it, the moment you say, I've done enough, I've learned enough, I'm moving on, you feel lighter. Not because the past disappears, but because it stops controlling you. There's no timeline for this, but there is urgency. Because the longer you wait to confront your past, the more time you waste. You're not getting those years back. You're not getting those chances again. But you can start now. You can build something new. You can live without the emotional weight pulling you down. That future exists, but only if you stop dragging the past with you. Look yourself in the mirror. See who you are, not just who you were. Speak truth. Own your choices. Learn from them. Apologize where you need to. But then stand tall. Walk forward. Not with guilt. With growth. With clarity. With purpose. That's how you heal. That's how you build a future that feels different. That's how you take your power back. By refusing to be controlled by anything you've already lived through. You have one life. Don't waste it, holding yourself hostage to the version of you who didn't know better. You know better now. You've seen more. You've felt more. You're capable of more. So give yourself the freedom to live like it. Give yourself permission to move on, to start fresh, to show up fully. No more shame. No more hiding. Just growth. Just clarity. Just real, honest, focused living. This is not the end of your story. This is the part where you rise. This is the part where you stop apologizing for trying to change. This is the part where you take full responsibility for your past and still choose to believe in your future. And if you do that, if you commit fully to facing your mistakes and forgiving yourself completely, nothing can stop your growth. Nothing can limit your future. And no part of your past will ever have the power to define you again. Number 7, surround yourself daily with ambitious, positive influences. The people you allow into your daily life are shaping who you become. Whether you realize it or not, they're influencing how you think, how you talk, what you believe, and what you expect from yourself. Every conversation leaves an impression. Every interaction affects your mindset. If you want to grow, if you want to push your life forward, if you want to become disciplined, focused, and successful, then you must be intentional about who you keep around you. You cannot build a strong future while surrounding yourself with people who think small, live without ambition, and constantly pull you into negativity. What you allow into your environment matters more than you think. If you spend your days with people who settle, you will eventually settle. If you spend your time with people who constantly complain, you'll start to do the same. If you let lazy, distracted, directionless people fill your space, don't be surprised when you feel unmotivated, confused, and stuck. It happens slowly. It doesn't feel like much at first, but over time, their mindset becomes your mindset. And without realizing it, you start lowering your standards just to fit in. You have to take full control over who you let influence your mind. You have to guard your mental space like your life depends on it, because it does. Your future depends on your thoughts, your beliefs, your habits. And your thoughts are shaped by the people you talk to, the voices you listen to, the standards that surround you. You can't expect to build a successful, focused, disciplined life if every conversation you have is filled with doubt, fear, gossip, and limitation. Look at the people closest to you. Do they push you to be better? Do they call you out when you slack off? Do they remind you of your goals when you forget them? Do they celebrate your growth? Do they talk about ideas, opportunities, building, creating? Or do they drag the conversation into problems, blame, and excuses? You know the difference. You feel the difference. And you have to make a decision about what kind of influence you want shaping your days. Positive influence isn't just about people who are nice to you. It's about people who challenge you to improve. People who see your potential and won't let you waste it. People who are building something real in their own life. So their advice is rooted in effort, not theory. That kind of energy changes everything. It lifts you. It sharpens your focus. It forces you to grow. Not because someone is pushing you, but because you want to keep up. You want to earn your place at that table. Ambitious people don't tolerate laziness. They don't make excuses. They don't play the victim. They hold themselves accountable. They wake up early. They follow through. They set goals and work toward them with intention. Being around that energy creates pressure, and that's a good thing. It's the kind of pressure that pulls more out of you. It doesn't break you. It builds you. You need to build your life around that kind of pressure. The kind that doesn't allow you to waste time. The kind that challenges your standards. The kind that reminds you daily what you said you wanted and doesn't let you forget it. If your environment isn't challenging you, it's limiting you. If the people around you aren't growing, you'll feel guilty for trying to grow. That's why most people don't change. They're too afraid of outgrowing the ones they love. But you can't stay stuck out of loyalty. You can love people without letting them influence your decisions. You can support them without letting their mindset shape your future. Start seeking out people who are serious about their life. People who are focused on health, discipline, learning, building, improving. Pay attention to how they move. Listen to how they speak. Watch what they tolerate. You'll notice something. They don't waste energy on things that don't move them forward. They don't spend hours arguing, complaining, or chasing distractions. They have a mission, and that mission shapes their behavior. That's the kind of influence you need around you. You don't have to cut everyone off. You don't have to announce your exit. But you do have to stop giving your energy to people who drain it. You do have to stop spending your time in conversations that don't challenge you. You do have to build new connections that match the future you're working toward. And you do have to put yourself in places where the standard is higher. Read what successful people are reading. Listen to people who are disciplined. Watch how they operate. Learn from how they think. Soak in their focus. That kind of influence can come from books, interviews, podcasts, conversations. It doesn't always have to be in person, but you do need to consume the right energy every single day. That energy shapes your thinking, and once your thinking changes, your entire life follows. You don't need more motivation. You need more clarity. And clarity comes from being around people who are clear, people who know what they want and are doing the work to get there. You start modeling that. You start copying that energy. And before you know it, you're moving differently. You're thinking sharper. You're acting faster. That's how environments change people. Not by force, but by influence. The biggest shift you'll feel when you change your circle is how much higher your expectations rise. You stop being okay with average. You stop tolerating laziness in yourself. You stop putting things off. You stop playing small, because suddenly you're in rooms where growth is normal, where progress is expected, where excuses are not welcome, and that changes everything. When you surround yourself with ambitious people, You start having different conversations. Instead of talking about what's wrong, you talk about what's next. Instead of complaining about the past, you plan for the future. Instead of gossiping about others, you build your own goals. That shift isn't just mental, it's emotional. You feel more hopeful, more alive, more grounded, and more committed. Positive influence helps you deal with setbacks. It reminds you that failure is part of the process. It doesn't let you spiral into self-pity. It pulls you back to reality. It gets you back on your feet faster. That kind of support isn't emotional hand-holding. It's real, direct, honest feedback from people who care enough not to let you fall apart. That kind of energy is rare. And once you find it, you protect it. If you don't have that influence right now, start building it. Reach out to people who are ahead of you. Find communities that value progress. Spend more time learning from the people you admire. Let go of the idea that you have to do it all alone. You don't, but you do have to be responsible for who you allow close. Just because someone is familiar doesn't mean they deserve your time. Just because someone means well doesn't mean they're helping you grow. You're not here to stay the same. You're here to rise. And rising requires strategy. It requires awareness. It requires protecting your mind from distractions. And your time from people who aren't serious. You don't have unlimited energy, so don't waste it on conversations that don't elevate you. Don't spend it on people who keep you stuck. Spend it where it builds you. Spend it where it counts. Growth is a daily decision, and so is who you let around you. Choose wisely. Choose people who make you think bigger. Choose people who hold you to a higher standard. Choose people who don't let you settle, and then become that person for someone else. Be the kind of influence that helps others grow. Speak with clarity. Lead by example. Keep your standards high. You are one decision away from surrounding yourself with the right energy. Don't wait. Don't hope things improve on their own. You have to create that environment. You have to shape it with your choices. That's how you change your life. That's how you build momentum. That's how you create real lasting growth. The people around you are either lifting you or lowering you. There's no neutral. Be honest about what's around you. Raise the standard. Surround yourself with energy that sharpens your mind, strengthens your discipline, and fuels your focus. You owe that to your future. You owe that to yourself. Because your life will rise to the level of your environment. Make sure it's built on ambition. Make sure it's built on purpose. And never stop upgrading it. Number 8. Challenge yourself boldly beyond your comfort zone. Comfort is where dreams go to die. It's where ambition fades and discipline weakens. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid discomfort. They build routines that don't push them. They make choices that feel safe. They settle into habits that require the least amount of effort. But the truth is, nothing meaningful happens inside your comfort zone. Growth doesn't happen there. Strength doesn't happen there. Confidence doesn't happen there. Everything you want for your future, everything you believe you're capable of becoming, lives outside that space. And the only way to reach it is to challenge yourself boldly beyond the line you've drawn around what feels easy. You have to stop waiting until you feel ready. You'll never feel ready. You have to stop believing that discomfort means something's wrong. Discomfort means something's working. It means you're stretching yourself. It means you're doing something new. It means you're finally putting yourself in situations where the outcome isn't guaranteed. That's where real courage shows up. Not when the path is clear, but when you're unsure, and you go anyway. You can't grow without risk. You can't grow without pressure. You can't grow without facing situations that make your hands shake and your thoughts race. If you want to know who you really are, put yourself in places that demand more from you than you've ever given. Challenge yourself in ways that make you question your own limits. Push past what feels reasonable. Do what scares you, not because you want to suffer, but because you want to change. Fear will always try to protect the version of you that feels safe, but that version is not your future. That version is not your potential. That version is a shell, a limited version of who you could be. And you'll never break that shell if you keep telling yourself you'll grow when it's easier. You grow when you make it harder. You grow when you stop choosing comfort and start choosing progress. Every time you avoid a challenge, you reinforce weakness. Every time you say, "I can't," you build that belief into your identity. Every time you choose the easy way, you teach your mind that struggle is something to run from. But when you face the hard thing, when you walk into the challenge, when you step into the unknown and decide to figure it out, something changes. Your mind sharpens, your focus increases, your self-respect rises. You begin to trust yourself, not because things worked out perfectly, but because you showed up when it mattered. That trust is powerful. It gives you the strength to keep pushing when you don't see immediate results. It gives you the resilience to handle setbacks. It gives you the clarity to know the difference between a real obstacle and just fear wearing a mask. You'll never know how strong you are until you stop playing small. You'll never know how capable you are until you take on something that genuinely challenges your mind, your emotions, your habits, and your beliefs. And when you do, you'll realize the version of you that used to feel far away is within reach. But only if you're willing to pay the price. That price is discomfort. It's getting up earlier than you want. It's doing more than what's required. It's saying yes to the thing you've avoided. It's standing in front of people and speaking when your voice shakes. It's starting the business with no guarantees. It's going to the gym when everything in you wants to stay home. It's showing up for yourself when your old habits are begging you to quit. The more you challenge yourself, the smaller fear becomes. It doesn't disappear, but it loses its grip. You stop letting it lead your decisions. You stop letting it control your behavior. You learn how to walk with it. You learn how to take action even while it whispers lies in your ear. That's what courage looks like. Not the absence of fear, but the refusal to be controlled by it. You don't need permission to grow. You don't need someone to tell you it's your time. You don't need a perfect plan. What you need is commitment. You need to decide that you're done playing life at half your capacity. You need to get tired of being stuck. You need to want growth more than you want comfort. And that desire needs to be so strong that you'll do the hard things without needing applause, attention, or rewards. Start with one thing that pushes you. One thing that makes you uncomfortable. Do it. Then do it again. Then add more. Layer it. Stack it. Build yourself up challenge by challenge, brick by brick. Soon, what used to scare you will feel normal. What used to be impossible will feel like a warm-up. And that's the goal, to keep stretching your limit until you become someone who can handle anything. People will tell you to slow down. They'll tell you you're doing too much. They'll tell you to be more realistic. Ignore them. They're speaking from their own fear, from their own comfort zone. They don't know what's possible for you. They don't know the drive you have inside. And even if they mean well, their advice is irrelevant, because your growth is not about their approval. Your success is not about their opinions. It's about your standards, your effort, your willingness to challenge yourself over and over without needing anyone else to understand. The more you step outside what feels normal, the more alive you feel. You start waking up with purpose. You stop wasting time. You stop doubting your own power, because now you have proof. Proof that you're capable, proof that you're willing, proof that you don't just talk about growth, you live it. You can't fake this. You can't pretend to grow while avoiding the pressure. It shows in how you move. It shows in how you think. It shows in what you tolerate. It shows in the results. People can tell when someone has been through something, when someone has pushed themselves through challenge after challenge. That kind of presence is earned. That kind of strength is real. You don't need to take massive steps all at once, but you do need to move. You do need to say yes when you're tempted to say no. You do need to act when you'd rather hesitate. That's the turning point. That's the place most people run from. But that's exactly where you need to go. Because on the other side of that fear is growth. On the other side of that discomfort is a new level of self-belief. On the other side of that pressure is the version of you that you've been chasing. Stop playing it safe. You weren't built for average. You weren't made to stay the same. You're here to become the strongest version of yourself. And that means stepping into the places that feel uncertain. It means holding yourself to higher standards. It means moving with purpose, even when no one's watching. The reward isn't just success. It's the person you become. It's the mindset you develop. It's the discipline you build. It's the confidence you earn. And once you have that, it doesn't matter what life throws at you. You know how to adapt. You know how to stay grounded. You know how to handle pressure. Not because you were born with it, but because you trained for it. Your future will not be shaped by what you wish for. It will be shaped by what you do when things get hard. It will be shaped by the moments you feel like quitting and choose to keep going. It will be shaped by the way you respond when fear shows up. Every decision you make is a vote for the kind of person you want to be. So cast your vote for strength. Cast your vote for focus. Cast your vote for growth. There will always be an excuse to stay where you are. There will always be a reason to wait. But that's not the life you want. You want to rise. You want to build. You want to look back and know that you gave everything you had, that you didn't hold back, that you didn't play small, that you lived with courage, that you challenged yourself every day to become someone you respected. You don't need perfect timing. You need a mindset that says, I'll figure it out. You don't need ideal conditions. You need grit. You don't need endless motivation. You need discipline. And all of that is built, not when life is easy, but when it's hard. Built in the pressure, built in the struggle, built in the challenge. So stand up, step forward, face the thing you've been avoiding, move toward the fear, lean into the discomfort, push past the limit, not once, every day, over and over, until challenge becomes normal, until discomfort becomes part of your routine, until growth becomes your identity. That's the life you want. That's the strength you need. That's the version of you that's waiting to be revealed. And the only way to meet that version is to step boldly beyond your comfort zone and never look back. Number 9, commit fiercely to your dreams and stay disciplined. If your dream truly matters to you, then nothing should stand in the way of your commitment. It should not be a side project. It should not be something you pursue only when life feels smooth. If you want to reach it, if you want to bring it to life, you have to commit to it with everything you've got, not halfway, not casually, fiercely. That means showing up when you're tired. That means doing the work when no one's watching. That means sacrificing distractions for something more important. Your dream is not just a hope, it's a responsibility. And you don't fulfill responsibility by treating it like a hobby. You have to make the decision that your dream is non-negotiable, that you're going to pursue it no matter how long it takes, no matter how difficult it becomes, no matter how often you fail along the way, because you will fail. You will run into walls. You will have days where nothing works. You will question yourself, but that's part of it. That's the price. The people who build something real are not the ones who always had it easy. They're the ones who kept moving through the doubt, through the silence, through the loneliness. Discipline is what carries you when motivation disappears. And it will. There are going to be mornings when you wake up and feel like quitting. There are going to be nights when your effort doesn't seem to make a difference. The work won't always feel rewarding. The results won't always show up fast. And in those moments, your mind will try to convince you to ease up. It'll offer you excuses. It'll tell you to slow down. It'll point out everything that's wrong. And your job is to stay committed anyway. You don't build anything great by following your feelings. You build it by following your commitments. You decide what matters, and then you align your actions with that decision every single day. That's how you earn progress. That's how you build confidence. You stop waiting for the right conditions, and you become the right person. You stop hoping for things to improve, and you start creating the improvement with your actions. Most people say they want it. They talk about what they're going to do. They make plans. They set goals. But when the pressure hits, when it gets inconvenient, they pull back. They lower their standards. They let their emotions lead. But you have to lead yourself. You have to remind yourself daily why you started. You have to get clear on what you're building and why it matters. Without that clarity, you will give in to distraction. Your dream doesn't care how you feel today. It only responds to what you do. It doesn't grow because you thought about it. It doesn't move forward because you talked about it. It moves when you work on it. When you push through resistance. When you focus, even when your mind is tired. When you say no to comfort because you've said yes to something bigger. This is where discipline matters. Discipline isn't a personality trait. It's a choice. A daily one. You don't need to be born with it. You create it through action. You train it by holding yourself to a schedule. By following your plan. By keeping your promises to yourself. Every time you follow through on what you said you would do, you strengthen your identity. You become someone who can be trusted. And that trust in yourself is what makes long-term success possible. Without discipline, your dream stays a wish. It becomes a list of what could have been. You can have talent, you can have ideas, but if you don't do the work, none of it matters. Talent without effort is wasted. Ideas without execution die. And time will not wait for you to get serious. Every day you delay, every time you choose comfort over progress, you're making it harder to close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Committing fiercely means cutting off every option that doesn't align with your dream. It means removing distractions. It means managing your time with purpose. It means surrounding yourself with people who push you, not entertain you. You have to design your life around the result you're working for. Not by accident, not when it's easy. Every day, intentionally, you don't get to say you want success and then live like someone who doesn't. Your actions have to match your words. Your routines have to reflect your vision. Your focus has to be stronger than your excuses. That's what fierce commitment looks like. It's not emotional hype. It's not temporary effort. It's the grind. It's the discipline. It's the consistency. You will be tested. Life will throw things at you that make you question everything. People will doubt you. Some will laugh. Others will ignore you completely. And none of that can stop you if you've already made the decision that you're all in. When your commitment is real, you don't need the applause. You don't need constant encouragement. You're fueled by purpose, not by praise. And that purpose has to be clear. You have to know why this dream matters. You have to see it so clearly in your mind that you can touch it. You have to believe in it even when no one else does. That belief comes from discipline, because discipline gives you evidence. Evidence that you're doing the work, that you're showing up, that you're moving, even when progress is invisible. Your daily habits must be aligned with your future. If you say you want to be fit, your meals and training must reflect that. If you say you want to build a business, your effort and strategy must show it. If you say you want to lead, your character and actions must match that standard. You don't get to dream big and act small. You don't get to hope for greatness while living in distraction. The ones who win are not the ones who had the easiest road. They're the ones who stayed focused longer, who worked when others stopped, who didn't need everything to be perfect, who showed up regardless of how they felt. That's what fierce commitment looks like. It's not about speed, it's about staying in the game, showing up daily, refusing to break when it gets hard. You are not weak, you are not stuck, you are not too late, you are only as limited as your discipline. Every excuse is a choice. Every skipped day is a message to your dream that it's not your priority. But every time you do the work, you're proving that this matters to you, that you're serious, that you're building something real. Don't expect results without effort. Don't expect clarity without action. Don't expect momentum without consistency. These are not things you hope for. They're things you create through discipline, through daily commitment, through fierce loyalty to your goals. You must become the kind of person who doesn't break their word to themselves. You must train your mind to follow through, not just when it's easy, but when it's inconvenient, when you're tired, when you're overwhelmed. That's how winners are made. That's how lives are changed. That's how legacies are built. If you want it, prove it. Every day, not with big talk, with small, relentless action. Wake up with purpose. Plan your day. Protect your focus. Shut out the noise. Build the habits. Execute the routine. Repeat it until it becomes who you are. Until discipline is not something you try. It's something you live. You don't rise by accident. You rise by choice. You rise by design. You rise by showing up. Not once in a while, but day after day. Without skipping. Without complaining. Without needing validation. You rise because your dream is worth it. And because you're not going to quit on yourself again. The work will be hard. The road will be long. The rewards will not come overnight. But if you commit, if you stay focused, if you build your discipline, like your life depends on it, then nothing can stop you. Not time, not failure, not fear. Because once you decide that this dream is non-negotiable, you will find a way, you will create a path, and you will not stop until you get there. Number 10, fight tirelessly. until your success becomes reality. Success doesn't come to those who wait. It doesn't come to those who simply wish for it. It doesn't arrive at your doorstep just because you want a better life. Success comes to those who are willing to fight for it, to those who are ready to sacrifice comfort, push through exhaustion, and keep going even when everything around them says stop. The kind of success that lasts, the kind that transforms your life, is built through discipline, not luck, through effort, not hoping, through action, not just dreams. And it demands that you keep showing up, keep grinding, and keep pushing until it becomes real. You have to be ready to outwork your old habits, your old excuses, your old self. Every single day, the fight is not against someone else. It's not against the competition. It's not against the world. It's against the weaker version of you that wants to slow down, give in, and settle. You have to wake up every morning and decide that today you're going to take another step, that you're going to earn every inch, that you will not go to bed until something has moved forward. It doesn't matter how small the progress is. What matters is that you fought for it. There will be days where nothing works, where your plan falls apart, where no one believes in what you're doing. You will be ignored. You will be underestimated. You will be told it's not possible, and you must continue anyway. You must push through silence, push through rejection, push through the days when no one claps for you. That's the real test. That's what separates the ones who talk about success from the ones who live it. You don't need more motivation. You need more resilience. You don't need everyone to agree with you. You need to believe in yourself enough to keep moving when the crowd disappears. Most people only work hard when things are going well. The moment life becomes uncomfortable, they pull back. But you have to keep fighting, not just when it's convenient, but especially when it's hard. That's when it counts. That's when the real growth begins. Success isn't given. It's earned through long nights, early mornings, and countless hours that no one ever sees. It's earned by staying focused while others waste time. It's earned by doing the work when the results haven't shown up yet. It's earned by choosing effort over excuses every single time. That consistency builds momentum. That momentum creates breakthroughs, and those breakthroughs build a future that no one can take from you. You have to want it bad enough that you refuse to quit, even when your back is against the wall, even when your energy is low, even when everyone else would have given up by now. Your fight has to come from something deep inside, from a commitment that says, I didn't come this far to stop now. You have to keep showing up, not for the world, not for applause, not for validation, but for yourself. Because you know what this dream means to you. Because you've already decided it's non-negotiable. There will be setbacks. There will be failures. There will be moments that break your heart. But you don't let them break your focus. You don't let them shake your decision. You use them. You study them. You grow from them. Every hit you take becomes a lesson. Every mistake becomes data. Every delay becomes fuel. You keep moving forward, not in spite of the struggle, but because of it. This fight isn't about proving anything to others. It's about proving to yourself that you won't back down, that you're not here to live a life of regret, that you're not going to look back years from now wishing you had stayed in the game. You're building something. You're crafting a future that matches your potential, and that takes daily effort. That takes full commitment. That takes a mindset that refuses to give up, no matter how long it takes. You don't climb out of mediocrity by accident. You do it by fighting every single day for more clarity, more discipline, more results. You don't stop when it gets uncomfortable. You double down. You don't pause when you feel overwhelmed. You slow down, breathe, and get back to work. That level of persistence is rare, but it's also what creates rare success. It's what separates the few from the many. You have to be willing to outlast the obstacles, to outlast the doubt, to outlast your own moments of weakness. You do that by staying locked in on your purpose, by reminding yourself every day why you started, why this matters, why you can't let it go. That internal fire has to burn hotter than the pressure you face. That inner voice has to be stronger than the noise outside. And that comes from building yourself every day through your actions, your discipline, and your focus. No one is going to hand you success, and if they did, it wouldn't last. The reason people who fight for success hold on to it is because they earned it. They know what it cost. They remember every moment they pushed through when they could have walked away. And that history, that memory of effort, keeps them sharp. It keeps them humble. It keeps them hungry. You have to fight for your goals like there's no plan B, like there's no other option. Because the moment you give yourself an out, you weaken your focus. You introduce hesitation, and hesitation will kill your momentum. You don't get to halfway chase success. You have to go all in with your time, with your effort, with your mind, with your discipline. That kind of all-in commitment rewires your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who's trying. You start seeing yourself as someone who is doing, who is building, who is becoming. You don't measure success only by the outcome. You measure it by the work you've put in, by the fight you give every day, by the way you show up regardless of how you feel. That's real success. Knowing that you are doing everything in your power to become your best self. Knowing that you are not wasting time, not wasting energy, not wasting your life. You will be tempted to quit. The journey will test your patience. It will stretch your limits. But that's the point. That's the design. That's how you grow into the person capable of handling success. You fight through the resistance, and the fight is what shapes you. You become sharper, more alert, more disciplined. You become someone who doesn't need conditions to be perfect, because you've trained yourself to perform in any condition. You don't wait for things to get easier. You get stronger. You don't wait for the path to be clear. You keep walking. You keep pushing. You keep adjusting. And as long as you keep moving, success gets closer. It may not look like it on the surface. It may feel far away. But every rep counts. Every decision matters. Every disciplined moment is part of the foundation. This is your time. This is your fight. And you only get one shot at this life. Don't waste it living soft. Don't waste it chasing comfort. Don't waste it waiting for everything to feel right. The time is now. The work is in front of you. The dream is still alive, but it needs you to fight for it. Not once. Not sometimes. Every single day. Be the one who stayed in the fight when others walked away. Be the one who kept swinging when the odds were against them. Be the one who chose focus over distraction, commitment over convenience, and discipline over excuses. That's how success becomes reality. Not through fantasy, but through a relentless fight backed by purpose, clarity, and unshakable drive. You owe this to yourself. You owe this to your future. And no matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how many times you fall, you rise again. You fight again. You stay in the game until the work you've done speaks for itself. Until the dream you once imagined becomes the life you're living. Until success isn't just something you wanted, but something you fought for and finally became.